Okay, so here we are working with the Andy Warhol color schemes, and as you can see I've loaded some color schemes in my swatches and separated them with some white swatches, and we're going to be making selections with the quick selection or with the masking tool, which is down here. This is the quick mask mode. You want to always make sure that when you start in the quick mask mode that you have your black or white selected here, so the default will go to black and white. And then if you press the quick mask button and you grab a paintbrush, you can start painting the hair. Your bracket keys will make your paintbrush bigger or smaller, or you can come up here and change your brush size and hardness. I'm trying to keep it at 100% for the hardness, and the size you can change depending on what you need. So you are painting the hair red. It's not actually painting red, it is just making a mask, and the mask happens to be red. So I'm going to kind of do a quick and dirty selection here of the hair. I can even go right over the earrings, and then you can always come back and change this later if it's not looking quite like how you wanted it to. And I'll come in here and get this part. And then I'll use the bracket keys to make my brush smaller to get in here. Okay, so I have a general selection there. Command plus zooms in, and with your space bar you can move to get closer in and see what you have there. And if you decide that there are certain areas you painted too much,
Camtasia
you
will
just come
export it,
back in with the white,
then give you a button to view it in
I
Finder,
actually didn't want
where you can
that
open
part
it
in there,
by
and
double-clicking.
kind of clean up your selections.
This particular project
So that's what
might
you
take a
should
few minutes
do.
to export,
I'm
so
not going to
we'll
spend
hold off
too
on
much
trying that
time
out now.
cleaning up this selection.
As I mentioned,
For
you could stop here
demonstration
and have a
purposes,
complete
but you
video.
get the point.
However, Camtasia also provides you with
You
a
can
fully featured
also
editor to help you improve your
come
screencasts.
into the earrings.
Let's go through
and
some
do
of the
same
basics of
thing.
editing that will help you
Just
clean up your recording and
subtract
zoom into
out
parts
the
that are
earrings
most
from your
important.
selection.
There are several ways to remove
By
mistakes from a
painting over that
recording
area
or
in
any
white.
media in a project.
Same
We'll
thing
cover
over
two of them here. Let's start with
And
trimming
when
the
you get
edges of media,
something like
since
what you
that's
want,
simplest.
then you push the quick
On the
mask button
timeline,
again.
where you'll arrange your
And
clips and do
then
most
the
of the
important
editing
thing
in
is
your
you're going to
video,
see some marching
just
ants
mouse
along
over the
the
edge of a
outside
clip
of your
and notice how the
document,
cursor changes
and
to
that
an
reminds
arrow,
you that you need to go
and then click and
select
drag.
inverse.
You can also use this
Now
technique
you
to
have just the hair
resize the length of a
selected.
media,
Then you're
including
going to come over
annotations.
to your swatches, and
Your
you're going
turn.
to pick a color
Hit
that you
pause
want to use
and
to
use
color
trimming
in the
to
hair.
remove this cough from the
Make sure
recording.
that's loaded as a foreground color over here.
Click play when you're
before
ready
you
to
go
continue.
Into this
If
button
you've trimmed
down
that cough
here
out,
in the layers
you'll notice
palette,
it left a blank spot in
and
the
just
video.
say
So
solid color.
I'll show you another way to remove a
And
segment
then
of
it
media
made
that
a
closes
solid
the gap.
color of the hair.
Just place
And
your
the
cursor
last
right before
step
the part
is to
you
go
want to
up
remove,
to your layer
hold
blending
the Shift
modes
key,
and say
then click and
multiply.
drag to make a selection.
So there you have the hair color.
You can also drag up
now you can
or
see
down
that there's some
to
areas
include
that
clips
might not
on
be
multiple
perfect
tracks.
that you want to work on.
After
you
you
can
let go,
actually go
you can also
into
adjust the
your
edges of
layer
the selection.
mask. If you select it, it gets
Then,
this little frame
right-click
around
and
it.
choose
And
Ripple
in your
Delete
layer
Range.
mask, as long
To have
as you're
everything
in
to the right on
painting
those
black
tracks,
or white,
shift
you
in
can
to fill
see
the
that
gap.
painting black takes
Click
away,
pause and try it for yourself.
or if I
by
paint with
removing
white, it will add
the two
to the
ums
selection
in
when I'm in
this
the
section.
mask.
Click play again when you've done that.
So
You can find
come in
more
here and
tutorials about working and editing on the
fix it
timeline
up.
by
The good
right-clicking
news
in
is
an empty
you can
spot
always come
and
back
choosing
in
Timeline
and
Tutorials.
fix things up and change
Now,
them.
earlier I mentioned that you
so
could add
let's
your recordings,
select
as well as
back
audio and
into our
images,
original
to your
picture,
screencast.
and
You
now
can do this
we're
by going to the
to
media
make
bin
the lip
and dragging the
selection.
item
so
to
we
the
need
canvas,
to be in
which
black
is this
and
big
white.
section here
Then
where
you
you're
click
previewing
on
this Getting
the
Started
Edit and
project.
Quick Mask,
Or you can drag
and
it to
you
the
can
timeline.
adjust your
In
brush
this case,
size to
drag
a
the
size that's
audio
work right
grape
on the lips.
clips to the timeline
Mine
here.
wasn't showing up because white was
Pause
in
the video
foreground.
until you've done that.
So I'll put black in the
Finally,
foreground.
let me show you how to make
And now you
details,
can
like
see
text, more crisp and
kind of
legible
painting
by using
the
zoom
lips.
animations. Let's take this area for example. If I'm talking about it in my screencast, I should zoom in there so the viewers can read the
And
text.
again, if you
And
want to
so
get in closer,
everything else currently
you
showing
can zoom
doesn't
in a little
distract
bit
them from what's
closer
important.
and get
To
those
add a
details
zoom animation, go to the
a little
Animations
bit
tab
better.
and drag the Zoom In
You don't
animation
want to get the
to
teeth
the
as part of
recording
the
you want to zoom
selection.
in on.
So that's pretty good.
It will be represented
Command
by an
0
arrow
gets you all
on
the
the
way
media
back
clip.
out again.
Then, in the
I'm
canvas,
going to
drag
push
your
the
video
quick mask
until the
mode again,
correct
and you
area
see that
is
I have the
showing.
lips selected, but it also
You can
has
also
everything
change when
around
the
there.
animation starts
So I need
or
to go
ends
to select
and
inverse.
how long it lasts
Now I have only
by
my
dragging
lips
the middle
selected.
or the
I
dots at
go
each
over
end
to
of
my
the arrow.
swatches and I pick
Click
a
pause
color
now
for my lips.
and zoom in on this
And
part of the
then
screen for me.
I will come
Then
here
click play again.
to my solid color.
Excellent. Now,
And now
pause and
my
drag
lips
the
have been
zoom out
colored.
animation
And
to
the
some
last
place
step
later in the
is
clip
to
to
come
see
in
what that
and
does.
say multiply in my layer blending
Notice
mode.
how
So
it
now I
scaled the
have
video
hair
to
and
fit
lips.
everything in the
I'm going to
canvas?
quickly do
That's
the
great for giving viewers
eyebrows.
a larger
So I
context.
need to be selected in original
All right,
picture.
after you practice the basics,
Then make
be sure to
I'm
check
in
out the
black
tutorial
and white.
viewer to learn even more.
Then
Go to the Help
adjust
menu
the
and
size
choose
of my brush.
Tutorial Viewer. Take
I'll
a bit of
just do
time
a
to explore
big
the different videos,
oops,
articles,
what
and the
happened
Camtasia
there?
course.
I
These will
forgot
be
to push the
invaluable
quick
in
mask
helping you
mode
create
button.
excellent videos
So
that
once I
communicate
click
and
in
teach.
there, you want
Now
to
try
see
creating
something
your
that
own
looks
project.
kind of red like that.
To start, go here
Got
to the
it
File
there,
menu and choose New Project.
and there.
Thanks, and
Then
happy
push
screencasting.
back the quick mask and go into select inverse. Go over to my swatches, choose a color. Come down here to my layers palette to solid color. Say OK, and then my blending mode is multiply. Okay, last but not least, the face, and that is the most challenging perhaps. So we're going to go in and make sure we're in black and white, click on the quick mask, and you're just going to paint the whole face and the body. So I'm using my bracket keys to make my brush larger, and I'm trying to do this rather quickly. So I can come in at first with a big brush and get most of that skin area. Then I can get into more detail by using a smaller brush and zooming in, using my space bar to move, and just come in here and grab a little bit more of the face. You can see how that face selection is going to meet up with your hair selection, and you don't want them to really overlap too much. So I'm just kind of finishing this one up here. This is a really quick and dirty job. You really want to take your time, but I'm trying to go quickly. Okay, so then I want to subtract out from my selection the lips and the whites in the eyes. So that means I should be painting in white now and make my brush smaller. And then I can come in and subtract out the inside of the eyes there. Paint that a little bit more. Then I'm going to subtract out all the lips. I could be using a bigger brush right now, that would probably help. Go a little quicker. Okay, you see how up at the top of the lip I might have taken too much, so I can come in and there. Okay, so that's about good. Oh, I could also go back into my white and make my brush smaller and erase out some of the earring again. We don't want that in our selection. And I'm going to add a little bit back in there. Okay. And then I will click my quick mask button again, go to select inverse, then choose my color, and come down here to make a new solid, and then say OK. Looks pretty scary right now. And then go to multiply. Okay, so you can see the face. I'm going to put that layer behind all the other ones, and now you can see everything is there. I can turn things on and off. You see hair, lips, eyebrows, which are very subtle, but they're there, and the skin, and my original picture. So you should be saving often. Command S to save. And then I can put a group in there by pushing this little file folder down in the layers, create a new group, move that up to the top, and call that mono or monochromatic. And then if I put everything inside of this group, then there I have everything. I can even put the original picture inside there. So when everything is in there, it becomes like one layer, which will make the next step easier. Now you also need to have your swatches, so we can make those pretty quickly with this rectangle tool. Just come down and drag out a rectangle, and it's filling with that first color. I'll drag out another rectangle and another rectangle. And I'm trying to get these all about equal, but it's okay if they're not exactly equal. Okay, so I have 4 rectangles. I can come back and change the color just by double-clicking here and choosing colors from my swatches. So double-click here and choose a color from my swatches, and double-click one more and choose a color from my swatches. These colors in my swatches are very similar. Okay, and then last but not least, I'm going to take my type tool in the tool palette and draw a text box and label this monochromatic. I'm going to come up to my font size and maybe make it 18 points, and the color of my font, I'll make it black, and then I will type in monochromatic, and I can highlight that and make it bigger. Shift Command and the greater than sign on your keyboard makes something bigger. If it's bigger, it's easier to read. And you might even decide to place it in a different area that makes it easier to read. I think down here it's going to work better. Command S to save. Command 0 to get everything into one area. Okay, now I'm going to show you that all of these things that we just made, we can also put inside of our mono group. So I'll just drag this in inside my group here, but I need to pay attention to making sure that those layers are still staying on top. So I got to put this up here. Now you can see that box. This one, my type, and my other shape. Now they're all inside mono. So everything is inside of this, and the reason we do that is so we can duplicate. If I control click and say duplicate group, now I have another one, and I'm going to call this one analogous, which is our next color scheme. And then, ta-da, all I have to do is move this over and recolor the boxes with an analogous color scheme. Imagine that. So I can double click here and just use the colors from my analogous color scheme now. So I'll change that to a purple, double click this one, change it to this pink, double click this one, change it to another pink. And the analogous color scheme, it gives you a lot, so you get to decide what ones you want to use. Okay, so there I have my color scheme. So then I'm going to do the same thing. Come in here and say this color. Or no, let's do a lighter pink. That's probably better. And then come into this one here and say this color. Come in, I'm double clicking in my colored box, and then I'm just picking out a color from my swatches over here. And it goes extremely quickly. See how quick this one went in comparison to here? And then we will just type in our type layer. So as long as we're in our type layer, we are going to select that and change it to analogous. Now, you're going to do the last two on your own. You don't need me anymore. You know how to do it. So you will do your split complementary and your tetrad color scheme, and then you'll have 4 all ready to go on the page. Hope you enjoyed this video tutorial. See you in class.